Hello, everyone. It is Friday, March 1st. Happy March. This is Kops Office Hours. I am your host, moderator, facilitator, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. Reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet, and so please be mindful of that and respect just be a code of conduct, which boils down to be a good person. We do have an agenda. I think the link is in the calendar invite and in the chat. If you do have items you want to talk about, please do add them to the end of the list or to the list, and we will get to them. We don't have a ton on there. Just I think there's 3 things I put on there. I'll jump into them, I guess. So the first one I think is hopefully good news for everyone, which is I feel like we're getting back on track. I did 1.11.1. I cut that release this morning, finally cut it this morning. And thanks to everyone that contributed to that, in particular on the CVE fix, which was sort of the big pain point and then we'll do the 1.12 alpha pretty soon because of the CVE fix, which we'll talk about in a minute. I think probably people will want to move to 1.12 sooner rather than later. So I think the strategy there is that we'll try to get that. We'll cut the branch earlier than we normally would, just to get that to beta and get that released a little faster. And I will, once I cut the 1.12 branch, I will then, normally we cut the 1.12 branch at beta. Today, I think we will cut it now at alpha, just to help it converge faster. And then we can also do a 1.13 alpha 1 from master at that sort of time. There is also an issue where the current master branch needs a custom upload. So there is the master branch is expecting a 1.12 alpha 1 binary to be uploaded. It isn't uploaded right now, and that's breaking some people. So that will get fixed at the same time. Sorry about that. That was my mistake. And then I put up a doc talking about the run C fix, mostly because the fixes that were out there were a bit of a challenge. I encourage people to read it to understand what we did. The workaround we ended up doing is for the versions of Docker which are no longer supported by Docker, which is, if I recall correctly, 1703, which is the versions that Kubernetes 1.10 and 1.11 expect. Some people on the internet have done a patch version of that, sort of backporting the fix. That felt like a risky thing to do. And there is a much simpler workaround, which is to mark the file as immutable using the change attribute command. That is a reasonable fix. It's not perfect. If you are doing things which I believe to be unlikely, you will want to either upgrade to 1.12 or use the hotfix, which basically downloads a patch version of run C, or just upgrade to a new version of Docker. I think which one of those 3 you choose is more or less up to you. Personally, I probably would do the newer version of Docker because I think, Rodrigo, you said you have been doing that anyway and you've had good results.
Yeah, I've been running newer Docker for probably the past year with 1.10 and 1.11 and now 1.12, and I've had no issues.
So thank you. That is a good reason to do that, and that is probably also safer than running a random binary. If people really want to run C, the patch version, I did do a work in progress PR where I sort of packaged that up, so we could start packaging that. It just becomes a big pain point in the release to start managing that. And I think the meta point is I think we should get to containerd where the life cycle more closely aligns with Kubernetes. So if we can get there, that will be good for these sort of things. So there is light at the end of the tunnel on these sort of fixes. And containerd powers Docker anyway, so it should be completely compatible.
I can confirm that we ran updated versions of Docker on 1.9, 1.10 as well. No issues.
That's good. Yeah, it used to be the case that some of the leading edge versions of Docker had some bugs. The Docker package has become better at not having those, but that's why certain versions of Kubernetes are still validated against certain versions of Docker, and they should work, but you never know. So that's great. Thank you for confirming that. And something I personally am excited about is the third thing I had on there was that we have the beginnings of mirroring support. So right now all the assets are served from a single S3 bucket, and we are moving that to the CNCF. And likely we'll have multiple buckets with sort of smart mirror, that sort of thing eventually. But to get that going, I have put in the first bit of mirroring support. It's pretty basic. I tried doing something more advanced and it was a bit of a mess. So I tried with something very basic. And for 1.12 right now, I think we just have the GitHub release in there as sort of another mirror, so that even if something goes wrong with the S3 bucket, that there is another source for it. And the idea is that these are only mirrors. We only pull from those when we're pulling by hash, and we tolerate them being down. So right now there is nothing on that URL right now in GitHub. So we are definitely tolerating it being down if we're still passing tests. And eventually we'll move the canonical source to the CNCF location, but we could then have multiple mirrors that are wherever you want, including, I guess, private S3 buckets or something like that if you wanted to do isolation. Cool. And we have 2 items on the agenda from Ryan. Ryan, do you want to address them? Talk to them?
Yeah, they're more just questions. Do we have a full change log? I was just looking for the change log for 1.11.1. I mean, I pulled up the tag and went through the commit history to sort of figure out what was in there. But is there a way we can? It seems like like most projects, sort of lag behind on change logs. Is there a way we can automate the generation of that in some way? And then same question on the next one, just around etcd manager, not specific to kops, but there is no change log for etcd manager and there's no tags. So it's really hard to find what's.
Yes, so good point on the tags. All right, I'll address those in order. So yes, there is a PR. PR is this. So there's a PR and the generation of that changelog is automated. Basically what I now do is I have the full changelog in there. That goes into the release notes, and then I type in like just the real like need to know stuff into the release notes, into the release thing itself in GitHub. And that's actually fairly manageable. And then yes, the changelog, good idea, yes, and must tag our releases.
Yeah, because I saw that was one of the updates was etcd manager, and I went to go try to figure out what all the changes were in etcd manager.
Yes, it is released from master, and it is released with a date in there. But yes, you are absolutely right. It is a great call, and that is actually just my oversight. And I'm sorry about that. I will just do that. That is an excellent call. It would also be nice to get that one. Yeah, it'd be nice if when I tag that it auto built, but one step at a time, I guess. Yes, and Rodrigo, yes, thank you. Next question is automated builds. Yes, we are getting closer. Part of this is the CNCF is, or not the CNCF. There is a move to move all the infrastructure which is currently at Google or elsewhere to CNCF control and funding. As part of that, I think any project can now, or any Kubernetes subproject can now get a GCRIO, their sort of Docker Hub, the Google's Docker Hub thing, private hub. Sorry, you said
no, that sounds good.
Okay, but we also need a binary location. So I'm also working on that, or I'm sort of like working on that in that group. That will mean we are able to do. We're getting closer, I think, is the answer. And then I think we'll still have to. Well, the question of how you actually trigger one of these magic builds is interesting. I think there is a cool thing called the registry promoter kep. I'll try to find a link for that. But the idea is essentially that you say, like, for example, 1.11.1 is going to correspond to this particular Git SHA, for example. And the way you say that is you have a file which has those mappings, and we do a PR to commit that goes through the normal approval process, either in the same repo or in a meta repo. Maybe it's image promoter kep. I'm trying to find this thing on the fly, sorry. So that is reasonable, and we might be able to do that. But yes, how we trigger those builds, I don't know. I don't think anyone has a great answer for it yet.
Sounds good. Okay. Just let us know if there's anything we can do to help you out with that.
Awesome. There. I mean, if you're always, if anyone wants to get involved in this, this is working group Kate's infra, which hopefully I will have more luck finding. Yes. I'm going to paste this in our notes. Oh.
Perfect.
Slow progress, mostly in boom. So that's a working group, which means I think on Wednesdays, I can't remember which, it's bi-weekly, I can't remember which cadence, where we are. But they are a good place to come, and if you're interested in how that works, that would be awesome. But yeah, we're getting there. Any more for any more? Any other topics of discussion? All right. Well, I wish everyone a happy Friday and a great weekend.
Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
You too.
Thank
See
you.
you. Bye.